This majestic valley, with its winding river and ancient forests, has witnessed the passage of countless generations. From the Fingmisk endures as a testament to history's quiet flow. Long before borders, flags, and colonies, North America was a vast world shaped by nature, movement, memory, and survival. Across this continent, native nations built communities, raised families, hunted, traded, and passed knowledge from one generation to the next. These were not empty lands waiting to be discovered. They were lived-in worlds with order, culture, and deep roots. Native America was never one single culture. It was a continent of many peoples, languages, traditions, and ways of life. Trade routes connected distant communities, carrying goods, ideas, and relationships across rivers, forests, and long stretches of land. Many native societies farmed skillfully, managing land and crops with experience that had been built over centuries. Leadership, spirituality, diplomacy, and community decision-making were central parts of life long before Europeans arrived. Then came the Atlantic crossings, as European powers sailed west in search of wealth, land, roots, and influence. What began as exploration would soon become conquest, competition, and permanent change for the entire continent. When Europeans landed, they entered a world already occupied, organized, and contested. Spain pushed into the Americas first, driven by empire, religion, gold, and the promise of domination. France built influence through exploration, trade, and alliances, especially across rivers and the northern interior. England looked west not only for profit, but for colonies that could strengthen its position against rival empires. Soon, North America became a contested space where Spain, France, and Britain all tried to expand their reach. The continent was not only a homeland, it was becoming a prize in a growing imperial struggle. In 1607, Jamestown became England's first permanent colony in North America, but survival was far from guaranteed. Disease, hunger, poor planning, and conflict nearly destroyed the settlement in its earliest years. Jamestown survived only through struggle, and its early history was marked by desperation rather than triumph. Further north, the Pilgrims came seeking religious freedom, but they too faced a harsh and uncertain beginning. In New England, religious communities built towns shaped by discipline, belief, and strong social order. These settlements helped define a colonial society where faith and community often guided public life.
Over time, 13 British colonies took shape along the Atlantic coast, each with its own economy and character.
New England, the Middle Colonies, and the South developed differently, but all became part of Britain's growing Atlantic world. Though governed by Britain, the colonies were also learning to manage local affairs on their own. Ports became engines of trade, linking colonial America to Europe, Africa, and the wider Atlantic economy. Trade brought growth and wealth, but it also tied the colonies to systems of dependency, labor, and inequality. In the South, plantation agriculture expanded, and enslaved labor became central to economic success. This prosperity came at a brutal human cost, built on exploitation, forced labor, and stolen freedom. As colonists pushed outward, the frontier became a place of pressure, expansion, and growing conflict. That conflict exploded into the French and Indian War, a struggle that reshaped power in North America. Britain eventually won, but the victory was expensive, violent, and full of consequences. After the war, Britain gained territory but also carried heavy debts and new responsibilities. To recover costs, Britain turned to the colonies for revenue, and resistance began to grow. Many colonists believed taxes without representation were not just unfair, but dangerous to their rights. Street violence deepened mistrust, and events like the Boston Massacre turned anger into something more explosive. Then came the Boston Tea Party, a dramatic act of protest against British authority and taxation. This was no small protest. It was a direct challenge to imperial control. In response, colonial leaders met together, searching for unity as the crisis deepened. When fighting finally broke out at Lexington and Concord, the long argument with Britain became war. Years of pressure, protest, and mistrust had pushed the colonies beyond resistance and toward revolution. America had not yet become the United States, but the road to independence had already begun.